I don't know if you know this, but Foxbody cars are becoming really tough to find for a reasonable price. I'm talking you can buy a 60s Mustang coupe in the same condition for the same price, which to me is nuts. They're becoming more and more desirable, which is making it harder and harder to find them. Ever since I did the 1000 subscriber video, I've announced that I was looking for a Foxbody to purchase. I am still struggling to find one that's in decent enough condition to do a restoration on and to build into my street strip car that I want to build. So growing up, I've always been in love with Mustangs and working on engines. My family has always been a Ford family, so it is what I knew. Being in high school in the late 90s, Foxbodies were the cars to have, especially living an hour away from New England Dragway. A few of my friends had them, but I wasn't able to get one, and I ended up with a SM95, a 94 5-liter GT Mustang. Now, it's my chance to get one, but I need to find one for the right price that I can build on this channel. I've been looking at cars around my area and the states next door to purchase, and I'm really looking for that right car. I have the money in hand. I've looked at a few within 20 miles, and you can't even imagine some of the prices that people are asking for them. I'm talking about $10,000 and up for a car that needs paint, hasn't been on the road for 5 to 10 years, rusty rocker panels, and brakes that don't even work. A few years ago, you could have these cars for under $5,000, potentially even less. But what I'm starting to notice is these $5,000 to $10,000 project cars aren't really selling anymore, and it's really the $15,000 nicely finished examples are the ones that are moving, but it's not what I'm looking for. I found a few sub $5,000 rollers that I could purchase, but I don't have a trailer to get them home. Thinking about getting a U-Haul to be able to move it from place to place. Another wrinkle is in Massachusetts, we require a clean title in the person's name you're purchasing the car from. This is something that's held me up from buying one for $1,500. If the car is entitled in the name, then you're taking a risk on the title and it could be canceled or it could be no good. So I'm hoping to have some other news coming up on a Foxbody if I can find one. If not, two months from now, I'll post another update. Now, I've looked at a few different cars, both of them in their early 90s. One of them was a green LX, which is in decent condition, but it needed paint, hadn't been on the road for a while. It had AFR heads, had the stock intake. The hood was peeling, all the paint was coming off. The rocker panels were a little bit rusty. The upper by the cowl had 2 dents in it, and it looks like someone recently did a cheap paint job to it and didn't know what they were doing. And you could tell because on the fiberglass hood, the paint was peeling off where elsewhere it wasn't. Now this car they wanted 10 grand for. I just couldn't do it. I looked at another car last weekend, and looking at this car, it was a white LX, it was a hatchback, so similar to what I'm looking for. And they said it was a 10-footer, like no major rust issues on this car. That's what they said. But when I actually got to see the car, you know, there was a lot of panels that have been replaced, welded in. They didn't even grind down the welds, and they left it in primer, which was starting to rust through. It looked like it was rattle can primer. This car was over $5,000, and it was absolutely nuts, like, to look at it. The pictures that were taken hid all the areas that I found when I was looking at it. So the behind the door was replaced. That was welded in. The welding job, I mean, it wasn't good. There was holes in it, so I didn't end up going with that car. The hatch was rusting, which is typical for up here in Massachusetts, but I mean, I've seen some that weren't. I want to get a car. I'm okay if it's rusty, as long as someone hasn't really butchered it and kind of tried to fix issues on it and didn't fix the issues correctly, because I don't really want to fix someone else's work, but you know, looking at where the cars are today and their prices, it's a good chance that's going to happen. So for cars, what I'm going to end up doing is the Shelby's going to go in the other garage over there. On the other side of that wall, there's another garage bay. The 69 is going to push up that way some. And then this is a spot where I'm going to be putting my project cars. So thanks for tuning in to Smacky's Garage. I'll see you next week. Hopefully I'll have some better news on the Foxbody in the next few weeks.